Welcome to part one of our socialization, behavior, and opinion lecture. This is going to be in three parts, and we're going to cover socialization, and then we'll cover in behavior, and then the third one will be opinion. So let's get started. Maybe. There we go. So here is what we're focusing on for our standards. We're focusing on what is labeled here as 3A. So let's talk American political culture. So American political culture is the beliefs, values, morals of a group of people that all live, together politically on what the role of government should do. So in America, we do have a unique political culture. There's not many that have that share our political culture, but we do. A lot of times, people like to say that we don't agree. We're very divided, but in essence, there are places that we, the people, do agree to. One of them is the idea of individualism. So you are entitled to own property, business, and or private property. Government has very little say in you owning that property and what you do with that property. And this is also, you get to pursue the things that are going to, would make you happy, that pursuit of happiness. Another point of agreement here is the equality of opportunity. So it's not just equality, but equality of opportunity. Everyone has the same opportunities for success, or and whatever that success might look like. It's not outcome is the same for everybody, but everyone gets the same opportunity to find success. Free enterprise is the third point of agreement. So this is another way to say capitalism, in which the government plays very little role in the economy. You can choose what you do for a job. If you want to open a bracelet making business and there are already 5 in your area, great. Hopefully you can survive. But if you can't, the government's not always going to come in and help protect that business. But that is the capitalistic, capitalism type of system, free market or free enterprise. Rule of law. The law applies to everyone regardless of their station in life. So the rule of law, if this is the rules, then this is what we follow. I don't care if you are, a beggar in the street all the way up to the president of the United States or a congressman or a judge. You have to follow the rules. On top of that, the government itself has to follow the rules. And then this leads us to limited government. Government is limited or restricted in what it can do to what the people have given it the ability to do through a plan of action, in our case, the U.S. Constitution. So this is where Americans agree. Americans agree on these points that, this is the kind of the role of the government. This is what everyone gets. When we talk about the role of government, we, not to, this is what they should be promoting. Now, where we disagree, how do we balance these agreements? How do we balance out individualism with the idea of equality of opportunity? Everyone having the same opportunity, but everyone getting, being individual. Or rule of law. If in capitalism or the free enterprise system, how do we balance all of that so that everyone is, getting the same or similar experiences, or the opportunity to have similar experiences? Now, general themes of American political culture is this idea of increasing political polarization. So this splitting between conservative and liberal ideologies, and growing expanse between them. There's lots of reasons for this growing political polarization, and we will discuss them as we go through the course. But just know that's a general theme on American political culture. And then you have the general distrust of the government. So there's been an increase starting in the 70s with the Vietnam War, the Pentagon Papers, the Watergate scandal, that there's just and every decade seems to grow in that distrust of the government, that the government is doing what they're telling us they're doing, that they are not hiding anything or being dishonest, or, and are looking out for the best interest of society and the American people. So how do we socialize? How do we develop our beliefs? Well, we do it through political socialization. So political socialization is the process in which people develop their political ideologies, like their political identity. This will affect their belief in the role of government, the policies government should pursue, and of course, if they vote, and if they do vote, the type of candidates they will vote for. So that's the definition. Go back and get that definition if you need to. Agents. So what is influencing a person's political socialization, the political identity? There's a couple of things. They're agents. So number one is family. Parents and family is the number one socialization. And we see this because when you ask high school students, who do you identify? Like when you ask, like, what are your political ideology? A lot of times they match with their parents at that time. Now it can change, and there's lots of things that factor into these things. But parents are the number one because parents and family are with you from day one. Then you access, as you grow older, you enter school, and the school is going to socialize individuals to patriotism, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, learning about famous Americans like Washington, Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., movements like the 4th of July and the Veterans Day, those sorts of things. And then your peer groups, interacting with other people that may have different beliefs and different viewpoints and different experiences, will influence your political ideology, like what you believe. Your gender and ethnicity can affect our political loyalties, our political ideology. Men tend to vote Republican. Women tend to vote, Democrat. Now, there's not a huge difference here, and I'm not saying all women, but when we break down the data, women, over 50% of women are voting Democrat. Okay, you think of ethnicity, and maybe the shared experience of that ethnicity or that gender does influence the role that those groups feel government should play. And then media. The media is, going to bring attention to certain issues and will ignore others. That will develop our, viewpoint on what government should be doing and focusing on. On top of that, we can put ourselves in echo chambers that we only hear one side, and that keeps reinforcing our beliefs, and we never, people slowly start to, not even acknowledge that there's another viewpoint or viewpoints. Now, other factors into the development of a political identity, here is the big one is political events. So an event like COVID and how government responded or did not respond. An event like 9/11 or the assassination of JFK or Martin Luther King Jr., something like the Civil War, if we want to go back that far, all of those type of things will influence and how an individual experienced them. Did they have a positive experience? Did they have a negative experience? Did they, how did they view government response to those experiences? Will influence a person's political viewpoint. Generational and life cycle. So generational, as you get older, we tend to become more conservative. So our ideology tends to move towards the more conservative side. I'm not saying you're going to go completely, all the way conservative, but depending on where you're at on the spectrum, you will move a little more conservative. This is what the data is showing. Doesn't mean everybody does, but there is data to support this movement. Generational, like different generations based on experiences as a whole of that group will have, a common ideology viewpoint. And then globalization, as we have become more globalized, more interconnected to other countries and other groups around the world, that influences the role that people feel that government should play, and and how they will vote. Now, how do Americans participate in politics? Well, they participate in the conventionally. This is voting, running for office, and that doesn't mean a national office or even a state level office. That could be your local city council, your school board, your homeowners association. It could be a water board, those sorts of things. It could be a community action board, volunteering for a campaign, either knocking on doors, making phone calls, could be answering phone calls, it could be prepping things for going in the mail, joining a political party and being active within the political party, helping find candidates to run for office, supporting those candidates, figuring out ways to gather and generate fundraising money for the political party to support candidates, and then of course giving money directly to the candidates. There are unconventional participations, which is protests, something like the teachers walkout in the 2018, not only in Oklahoma, but in Arizona and in, somewhere along the East Coast. I'm drawing a blank. Maybe Virginia. Those are protests, protesting Supreme Court decisions, or protesting a passing of a law in front of the Capitol building. Protest in this case is, it is having speakers, and it's kind of a rally. And then you have their civil disobedience. There's the nonviolent civil disobedience, in which a person is just choosing not to, say, pay a tax or, participate in some action. And then there's the violent methods. The violent methods tend to get a lot more press than the nonviolent methods. Now, political participation, make sure you understand this definition. Political participation is activities used by citizens to influence political leaders and policies, is unequal among Americans. So the participation that we see within our society, within our communities, is unequal. What we notice, what the data suggests and supports, is that older people, the graying of America, okay, so the baby boomer generation and older, are more active in in politics, and are more vocal about what policies they want government to have, like to pursue. Now, why would that be? Did you come up with something? Maybe you said because they're old, they're retired, they have time. Yes. Also, those programs that they want the government to have benefit them. Okay, and they don't want those programs to go away. All right, so that wraps up this first part of the notes. The second part will focus on political ideologies. Till next time. Bye, guys.